All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Reader. So we're going to take a look at Palantir, Snap, and NNDM. So look, Palantir is a beast, all right, and just dancing with it. I mean, we've been talking about this so much. I feel like I've been repeating myself a little bit, but look, following the NASDAQ is the story here, all right? And all she's doing is running with the NASDAQ, okay? I'm not here trying to say like this is on the NVIDIA level, but it's copying just as well, right? So I keep saying this thing gives you reasons to average up and average up and average up. And yeah, I mean, yesterday did it again, in all honesty. Today kind of confirmed with another near 4%. Like, dude, Palantir's not here. It's done it. Don't get me wrong. It's brought some big numbers, but Palantir's here to kind of give you 5% a day and go away. You know what I mean? So doing its thing. Snap came from a viewer request, and it's a good one, I think, actually. I'm not too sure if it needs to cool off before it takes off, but Snap looks like it's close for sure. And truth be told, I think Snap already made a decent move by the time I'm about to talk to it, in all honesty. So I looked at it yesterday. I was actually really impressed. So was Just Sharded, and that's always a good thing, believe me. And then the last one is NNDM. So I will be honest. Nothing bad. There is nothing bad to talk about NNDM, all right? The thing is, like I've always said, this is a relatively basic technical setup. I just, knock on wood, I'm all right, you know what I'm saying? So I can kind of take it to the next level by seeing things, right? But I actually do use more indicators when I move my money, and there's something I'm just not liking. And for lack of words, again, it's not like it's gonna crash. It's a bad thing, bad not liking. It's just fuel in the tank. I'm not seeing the gas it needs. So we'll talk about all that and more, but real quick, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We're going to take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. There are horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw manually myself. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can please subscribe to the channel, share this video on the internet, comment good or bad. Look, if you don't disagree with me, I'm not here to hate on you, all right? Two educated people having a conversation, that's how beautiful things happen. You know what I mean? So, but I swear, just being here and giving me your time, like that is already a lot, and I appreciate it, okay? So look, let's get into it. And I'm obviously going to talk about the immediate, right? But look, it wasn't that long ago that Palantir was just sitting in this cluster for months, right? 1, 2, 3 full months, but it has been all good and more since it's broken it, right? So, you know, bouncing on the 8, bouncing on the 8, bouncing on the 8, bouncing on the 8. Got a little bit scary here. But again, I mentioned this in the opening thoughts, right? NASDAQ really did the same thing. Again, remember this window, the 20th to the 26th, all right? NASDAQ composite. 20th to the 26th, you still see that same dip. And then again, just remember these dates, the 3rd and the 10th, okay? PLTR. It actually isn't even that bad here, but yeah, the 3rd and the 10th, there's a little bit, right? So when this is bad, it's really because the markets, the major markets, the indices aren't good, right? And again, no single stock is better than the market, right? This is a tech stock, so obviously NASDAQ matters a little bit more, right? But yeah, if NASDAQ's looking good, and you know what, it's funny, I was talking about those two middle ones. What does NASDAQ look like right now? NASDAQ's looking good. NASDAQ's coming up to my next line right here, right? NASDAQ's coming to the line before my golden lines. And don't get me wrong, I could probably draw something right there. I could probably draw something right there. Like, we're coming up on my goal. Like, it actually kind of blows my mind just a little bit, in all honesty. But nonetheless, Palantir, man, in all honesty, this is, I don't know if it's this one or this one, but one of these two, it actually does seem like this one, because you get the bottom, you get some noise. Like, it seems like this is going to want to come to 2330, 2340, excuse me, give or take. So I'm liking. Ooh, I got hiccup, excuse me. And you can see, look, MACD ran well, MACD cools off, seems like MACD wants to go back up, and it never lost the 0 line. It stayed positive that whole time. I love it, right? And look, yes, high RSI, generally in the 80s, I'm going to start saying, you know, maybe a little overbought. Let's just look where we're at, right? Like, this thing was living. I'm going really fast, but look, 81, 90, 90, 84. I think there was like a, yeah, like there's a whole mess of 80s and 90s in that number right there. You know what I mean? So this thing knows how to live there. Beautiful volume. Our average is just growing and growing and growing because there's so much more volume growing and growing. I mean, there's, you know, I feel like I could talk for another 5 minutes about how good this daily chart is, for real. All right, like last thing I'll just say, red, little baby plateau that's kind of insignificant in where we're at. Like, this thing wants to run, you know what I mean? So let's look at the weekly. Again, we're crushing it. There's no way the 200th day is anywhere close, okay? Because just roughly speaking, right? I'm gonna badger it, but yeah, this line doesn't look very long. This line doesn't make me really think we've gone very deep into the hundreds. Again, we need 200 weeks before we'll get it, right? As of, oops, don't click on that line. As of right now, you can see in the box over there, there is no average 200. This is no, there isn't one, and we are over all the moving averages and running, right? So, and look, just bouncing on the 8 like a good stock should, right? So Palantir, I'm telling you, nothing but good things here, and really no reason to believe it's actually going to stop. So did I do snap or snap one? Perfect, snap. So look at this thing right here, okay? Again, kind of the same things we were seeing with Palantir, just not as long. You get a good little tightness going on, and then all of a sudden we start breaking it and going. And look, like a stock we like, it uses the 8 as a bounce point, all right? Today could have been a little uglier, but it definitely wasn't, right? Like, we do wick the line, but that's not the best RSI, I will say that. But as I'm saying it, I mean, it doesn't come that low. 50 right there, maybe worst case, you know, let's call it 30, right? So I'm actually not too worried. It does look like it might want to cool a bit. Maybe we'll come as low as like 13, because again, it looks like this 8 is going up, right? So maybe around here. I don't think much lower than this. If we were to lose 1275, I think the lowest would be 1235, because at that point you're probably going to hit the 20 moving average. But overall, this thing is riding the 8 and the 20 like a champ. And what does the weekly look like? That's a great weekly. Interesting. Okay, so oh man, look at that, because obviously you see it after those two, you get these two, and I'm gonna do it on this one, not on this one. But yeah, break 14, and my goodness, there's reason to believe we'll come all the way up to 30. Actually, this is a cool weekly. And again, when I get excited on a weekly chart, that means it's gonna take some time. So, you know, don't get too upset if this thing like doesn't fly over the next like couple days, maybe even into early next week. But like, if you give this a couple weeks, and if you let this thing, you know, break 1475, right, rounding a couple cents, really good things can happen here. Again, on the daily, there's not a lot. And look at that, those were great lines. Those were probably the lines I would have drawn if I was looking at this. I think I'm gonna actually raise, no, because you know what, we're basically taking the top of that one. Yeah, let's leave these lines. These are good lines. These are great lines, actually. Cool. Yeah, I'm like I said, I don't mind coming. I'll be honest with you, I'm not in it right now. So like, if I can get a stink bid in around like 1230, 1240, man, I actually might consider that. Otherwise, again, you're just riding the 8 like a champ so far. Worst case, you lose the 8, bounce the 20, and go back up. But overall, the moving averages, it's been a good amount of pain here for sure, you know, and that's an amazing gap fill if it hits, right? So I'll just draw the line just to have it, but that could be a real easy fill, excuse me. And again, big up, big nothing, big up, big down, big up, big nothing, big up would be the goal. And going from 14 to 21, that's a 50%, right? 7, 14, 21. So snap, I keep saying it, the viewer requests keep getting so good. I hope everybody reads the comments in my videos. I automatically get them, so I'm very fortunate that I do. But for real, there is fire in the comments. Nothing's financial advice, right? But again, when educated people share their thoughts, really good things can happen, okay? NNDM. Okay, look, there's a lot to like here. All right, first and foremost, you're over all the moving averages. You've basically done a couple bounces on the 8 already. You've proven the 8 is our friend. The 20 is still riding up. We've now golden crossed the 50 on the 200. Looks like we're going to golden cross the 50 on the 100 pretty soon. That was a good golden cross right there. Like there's a lot to like, okay? Here's the thing though. We're kind of curving a little bit on the MACD. And here's the thing though. We're kind of curving on the RSI a little bit, right? It is what it is. And truth be told, volume's kind of doing something like this, right? All that said, these are not fantastic. Do I think that this is a bad stock? No, I don't. I don't think this has the gas. And what does it need the gas for? To make the rest of this, right? Because we're basically sitting on this peak right here, right? Literally, we're on the line, right? This is a noisy little thing, and you can see it was difficult here, was difficult here, was difficult here, was difficult here. It finally breaks it and makes a nice little run, right? Like this line, all these, this peak, where we're at now, like it's not an easy line, and it's going to need a good amount of gas, right? And then again, from there, that's not that far from it, and it's still a pretty noisy one. The good thing is, relatively speaking, it hasn't been anything, right, since September. So maybe the fact that like it maybe was noisy here, but not very recently, will make this one a little bit easier to break. But yeah, it makes sense that 308's a little bit hard. It was hard here. Like I said, it was hard all of these little points. Obviously, this was a good little support at one point as well, right? So yeah, that said, get over it. Hold it at least, and more than anything, if we come down a little bit, just don't go down too much, right? Like I think this is kind of roughly the lowest I would feel comfortable with this thing going. And in a lot of ways, I almost feel bad even saying that, because like technically speaking, you can come all the way down to the 20 moving average. The problem just is the gap between the 8 and the 20 is hard. And that is actually a green. That could be a quick red, right? Like you don't want to see that necessarily. But again, this is calming. This had a good run. Even this had a good little run, right? So, you know, I think it's nothing more than a cooling down thing. Hopefully we never lose the 20. Hey, hopefully we never even lose the 8 and I'm completely wrong and we actually just smash on up, right? Like that's very much a real possibility. But I just see this thing needing to just kind of reset some numbers. And look, I actually think bringing this high RSI down to a safer number, I shouldn't use the word safer, but like a healthier number, can also keep the MACD in a positive number. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm overall not worried. And then again, the game here was actually the weekly chart, and we're doing well on the weekly. We're still holding a positive MACD. We're still not bad RSI. Volume's kind of the only thing that just hasn't been holding it. But like again, just slow and steady ain't bad here. All right, it's really not, and that's kind of what this thing one is. All right, the place I want to end this with, and I would really appreciate information if you have it. Okay. I can't tell how I'm feeling about the SSYS DDD merger noise and how this stock is kind of like mixed into it. I think DM is also mixed into it. Like I'm not liking how it kind of seems like Nano's a little bit at the end, but I think at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. And I don't think it really like does anything to the share price, but like in some ways, I think I'm a little bit annoyed with all the like connections and headlines with the buyout of I'm pretty sure it's SSYS. It might be SYSS, a little dyslexic here and there, but yeah, just it's annoying me. I don't think it's horrible, but let me know your thoughts actually if you think it's actually something more. So other than that, you know, I appreciate your time. Thank you.